Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's been a couple weeks since I posted anything, so I decided to go ahead and start up another project. As I said in my last video, I hope everyone is safe and in great health. Still kind of waiting on this virus thing to pass, but things seem to be starting to kind of go back to normal. Here is another piece of cedar that I just picked up this morning. I want to do another epoxy river table, but on this one, we're going to do it a little differently. So most of the time when people do river tables, they'll cut down the middle of the slab and then they'll flip both pieces to where the live edge is on the inside. But we're going to be doing it a little different. I'm going to show you how to create an epoxy river down the middle of this piece of wood without actually cutting it into two pieces. So let's get started. So as always, the first thing we need to do is remove all this bark with my chisel. And that is one thing I like about cedar, right there. One pass with the chisel, took off a pretty good bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove all this bark from both sides, and then we will proceed. All right guys, so I got the bark chisel off on both edges. It's not perfect, doesn't have to be just yet. Well, that's one of the last steps of the whole project, so we'll worry about it then. So I've calculated the river that I need to create. It's right at about 192 cubic inches. So I'm gonna draw it out. 48 inches because the slab's 4 foot long, 5 inches wide, and about an inch deep. I'm just gonna go ahead and draw it on here. So as you can see, I've drawn up a little stream down the middle. So that's 48 inches long, about 5 inches wide, and it'll be about an inch deep. If we round it up, we'll say about 200 cubic inches. And the reason I wanted it at that amount is so that I could do this whole river with one kit of epoxy. People say all the time, oh, I gotta buy 4 or 5 kits just to do one table. Well, if you do it this way, you can do it with one kit. And just in case you're wondering, the formula is length times width times depth, and then you'll go to Google's cubic inches to gallons converter, and that will tell you exactly how much epoxy it will take to fill up the void. So now you may be wondering, how are we going to carve this section out of the slab? Let's head outside and I will show you. All right guys, so what we're going to do here, take your router and we are going to carve out that section that we drew up. I may go somewhere between 1/2 inch to an inch deep. This is a little time consuming because you don't want to take off more than 1/8 inch at a time. Otherwise you increase your chances of actually chipping the wood. That's not what we want to do. We just want to kind of hover over it and shave it off. Alright guys, I think that's about a 3/4 inch deep, which should be fine. I went over it 5 times, did about a 1/16 inch between an 1/8 inch each pass. Comes off pretty easily once you keep the bit up pretty high, don't go down too low, otherwise it's going to give you a hard time, but it works. Alright guys, so now that the routing is complete. Taking a look at the bottom of the slab, and I see little things like this right here, possibly this area. Those are most likely going to leak. So I'm going to show you how I plug those off, prevent that from happening. So I'm just going to cut out some squares from this cardboard. Just kind of look at the hole and cut out a square that can fit around it well. There we go. Now I'm going to take this Tyvek tape. You can get this at Lowe's. It's actually house wrap tape, or packaging tape works as well. Just go around the piece of cardboard. You only have to go around one side of it. Alright guys, so now I'm just going to take my hot glue, go around that area. Take your little piece that you just made. Okay, just press down really good. And just to be safe, you can go around the seam just like that. Okay guys, so now we're moving on to the fun part. To pour this up, I'm going to be using the deep as always. It's a 3-to-1 ratio. If you do 3 cups of resin, you do 1 cup of hardener, 3 gallons of resin, 1 gallon of hardener, etc. Alright guys, so in my bucket here I have 9 cups of resin and 3 cups of hardener. So I'm going to go ahead and mix that up, and then we'll add some colors to it. Alright guys, so I'm actually really impressed with that color. I like it a lot. You see right there, little bubbles that keep coming up. That's that. Directly under that is that area that we blocked off with the cardboard and the tape. I shine my light under the slab and it doesn't look like it's leaking at all, so that's good. project is on hold for about 4 days. We're gonna let this cure. It's gonna be hard as a rock when we come back. We're gonna plane it, sand it, and then we're gonna do a flood coat on it. It's gonna look nice when it's done. So I'll keep you updated. Hey, what's going on, guys? Here we are 4 days later. There's the table. I got my router and my router jig. We're gonna plane the table. I'm sure you've seen this before. If not, you can take a look at a few of my other videos, maybe explain it a little bit better. This router just kind of stays in that sled and hovers over the slab, shaves it all off and makes it flat. And then we will probably flip it over and do the other side after we do the top. I would strongly recommend using a respirator, some earmuffs, a long sleeve, and some glasses when you do this. So I finished planing the top, and as you can see, these there's a spot here and here that the router bit did not touch. Those were just some low spots, but I'm not going to worry about them because they're literally less than a millimeter low. So I'll just blend them in with my sander, and then whenever I do the top coat, you won't even be able to tell. The top's flat. Now I'm going to flip it over and kind of go over the bottom a little bit, and then we'll start sanding. All right, guys, so now we got both sides of the slab pretty much perfectly flat. So now I'm going to take my orbital sander. I'm going to start with some 80 grit, and then I'm going to go to 180 and then 320. I'm going to have it all smooth. If you have one of those handheld belt sanders, I would strongly recommend using that because you'll get it done a lot faster, but at the moment this is all I have, so I'm just going to start sanding. Okay, so I have been standing here for about 2 hours sanding. As you can see, I got the edges sanded up real fine. I really like the way that looks. And the top, I still see a little bit of markings from the router that I need to sand out, but for the most part, it's done. I got some water on it now. Most of the time what I would do right now is cut with my skill saw the edges right here, about 1/4 inch off the edge, just to kind of clean up. But I have this hole here. It needs to be filled with resin before I can do that. The other side you can see as well, it needs to be cleaned up. It's got hot glue on it. So yeah, I'm gonna fill up this hole with epoxy, let that cure, and then I'll trim off about 1/4 inch of the edges, and then we'll be ready for the seal coat. Alright guys, so now that the table is ready for a top coat, I'm going to be using Amazing Clear Cast made by Alumilite. Scratch resistant, water resistant, won't turn yellow, won't crack on you. Stuff works really good. Looks like glass when it's done. It's just A to B 1-to-1 ratio, so I'm going to mix some up and then we'll start pouring it out. Alright guys, I got 2 cups of Amazing Clear Cast here. Just going to pour it out, and I'm going to use this little popsicle stick here to kind of spread it around. So now I got the clear cast spread out evenly on top of the slab. I also took my hand and just kind of rubbed on the sides and got it on there. It looks really nice. And so now all that's left to do is let that cure and put some legs on it. We will have a completed river coffee table. So I let the top coat cure overnight, and then the next day I put these legs on. I really like the shape of these legs and the color, and they also match the other furniture in my living room. I'm gonna leave a link down in the description to my Etsy shop, and if you're interested in having this coffee table, then you will find it there. If you enjoyed my video, give me a subscribe, I would really appreciate it. You can check out my channel for other videos just like this one. And until next time, later guys.